You're tuned in to The Keetra Show and listening to SOB, Style of Business, the podcast with your host, Keetra. We aim to highlight the ongoing trek of entrepreneurs and business owners from around the globe, featuring stories that recount their struggles, experiences, and inevitable road to success and self-fulfillment. Welcome to SOB.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks so much for tuning in and checking out another hot episode of SOB, Style of Business, the podcast. This is your host, Keetra. And today we have another wonderful guest on the line. We are having a great conversation today with the wonderful Anthony Razzano, who is a awesome guy. Like, when you guys hear this story, you know what? Let me stop because I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself, and I will just let him share the story with y'all. Anyway, he is a business advisor. He's also a certified public accountant and also a licensed NFL agent. And he has an awesome book coming out. You guys, he's going to tell you more information about it, but the story is absolutely captivating, and it is called Against All Odds, a story of faith, courage, and never giving up. So you guys already know we're going to be packed with resilience and all types of wonderful tips and ideas and information from Anthony. So without further ado, Anthony, please drop that introduction for us. And please let me know if I did my best to pronounce your name the way that it's supposed to be pronounced. So please clarify if I made any mistakes, but hopefully I got it just as close to perfect as it needed to be.
There's no worries at all, Keetra. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the kind introduction. And my name is Anthony Razzano. I was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania, the heart of steel country. And I was born and raised in a football family in a football community where growing up, the whole idea was to get on the gridiron and play under the lights at our stadium called Taggart Stadium, where I had family members, uncles, my father, everyone played on that field. It was like a rite of passage. And, you know, on October 31st, 1987 was the day of my first opportunity to play under the lights at Taggart Stadium, to walk in my family's footsteps and to carry the torch of my own. And on that day, it just so happened that I was involved in a terrible accident in my garage where I was burned. My clothes were set on fire by an accident. My buddy flipped a match and my clothes went up and I was a ball of flames, and I was burned over 87% of my body that day, and I never made it obviously to the football field. I lost my left hand. I had 134 blood transfusions. My family was told that if I lived for a day, I would die in 3 days. If I lived for 3 days, I would die in 3 weeks. And 3 weeks into my hospital stay, they quit administering me medication because my heart rate was 189 beats a minute for 3 consecutive days. My blood pressure was 49/20, and my temperature was 106. And they said there was nothing more that they could do. But there was an intersection of my family never gave up faith, and I was blessed in a very special way. And it turned out the medical science was incorrect, and the prayers overwhelmed medical science. And I turned out the next day, I woke up after a vigil was put outside of my room, and my heart rate stabilized, my blood pressure was normal, and my fever had went away. A few weeks later, they took the breathing tube out, and I was back on my feet walking, albeit with a trail of blood behind me, with my parents holding my arms, and back on my feet a little bit. And a couple months later, I was out of the hospital. 3 years later, I was back on the football field, and as a senior in high school, I was a starting outside linebacker for the Newcastle Red Hurricanes, and finally got a chance to run out onto that field at Taggart Stadium and realize my dreams as carrying the family love of football forward. Now today I'm a father of 2 beautiful children, Julia, who's 21, and Anthony, who's 11. I've been married for 24 years, and with my lovely wife Katie for 28 years. And we have a nice business advisory practice where we just help people to realize their dreams. And, and much of what I've learned coming through my accident and getting myself back on my feet and back on the football field, those lessons have translated into entrepreneurial success as well. Yeah. And I kind of carry on that method. And I talk about that in my book, Against All Odds, which was just released and is now a Barnes & Noble's bestseller and doing really well. So I'm very thankful for it all.
Absolutely. No, and there's so much ground that we could cover, when it comes to your story. And I guess we'll start in particularly with, let's start with the book. And then we'll work our way back up to the NFL. But you have, I was reading some of the information in regards to the inspiration behind the book, and I was reading the foreword, and you have this quote that you said, and it was I think it was, let me see, it's the only failure in life was not to try. And that's really, that is with somebody who's in a situation or who was in a situation like you were, and, it's easy to give up and, because a lot of people don't go through as much. And so when I was reading that quote, I was like, man, how did you, what are some of the things or people or whatever it was, what sort of inspiration really catapulted you to move forward and keep taking those steps?
Well, that's a great question, and I very much appreciate it. And I've spent my life really thinking about that. And I've come to the realization that if at the age of 12, when I was burned, had God taken me home, I would have went directly into heaven because I wasn't even capable of making a sin that would prevent me from God's love. Yeah. So I realized that his plan for me and what I had to do in my life, it was related more to the children that I would eventually be the father of, and the family that I would lead, and the people that I would touch with my story. So the Lord blessed me with the strength to get through and to endure the suffering that I had to endure, so that I could be here today to tell you and your listeners that no matter how dark your life gets at a particular time, no matter what it is that you're faced with, what type of adversity is in your way, that there's a plan, that adversity is strengthening you for the challenges that you have ahead. Mm-hmm. And those challenges may be, it may be in your path, but it might be also in who you raise or who you affect with the business that you start, or the person that needs to hear that it's not over for them, and that you could serve as an example for that. And when you're strengthened by suffering, and when you're strengthened by stepping on that stepping stone of adversity to walk into your destiny of tomorrow, that only provides you with the confidence to know that that you can overcome and accomplish just about anything you put your heart and your mind into.
Absolutely love that. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about, just your own self-belief and finding that willpower to make sure that you were able to achieve those goals that you set for yourself. So you make it out of the hospital, you're back onto the football field, senior year goes well, fast forward about 10 years later, what sort of, did you have to, I'm sure you had to reset at some point and try to, make sure that you were not allowing other people's opinions of your capabilities to influence the decisions, the decisions that you wanted to make for yourself moving forward. But tell me a little bit about that self-belief practice for you. What did that look like for you to be able to press forward?
Well, the truth of the matter is that getting back on the football field and having a normal life was what was the calling card for me to survive. Okay. And the notion that I was injured this way, but I was going to have a life that was less than, or I was not going to be able to play ball, or to have a normal childhood, or to not be able to live a life of disability, or a life that was not full of prosperity. That scared me more than anything else. Yeah. So that was what lit me up, no pun intended, to really never say die and to keep fighting. And, I couldn't imagine my life of just sitting in a room or living in my parents' basement and having the best thing that ever happened to me just be surviving the accident. I needed more for my spirit, for my character, in order to live a fulfilled life. And so, that's really what got me. But I will say this: at your hardest moments, okay, at those moments where life is the hardest on you, where you feel like you are stuck on your back on the ground with a rock on your chest and you can't move. Well, at some point you have to be still and trust in the faith and let the other people care for you so that you can heal. And once you heal and you get back on your feet, now that is where your true power comes in. And so, it's not always just about you. It's about what your purpose is, who you're surrounded by, the people who love you, the people who care for you, and the people that you trust in and that mentor you. And that's sometimes what empowers you to overcome and not let those negative thoughts come in and tell you that you can't. And you have to just believe in yourself and your destiny.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's sometimes we feel like it's some sort of trick being played on us, or, just some sort of fate being delivered, but you definitely have to have that self-belief. And I love the fact that you're so resilient. Like, not only did you, proceed to going back out on the football field, but here you are these years later, and you have multiple businesses and different things that you have going in regards to your entrepreneurial life. And I would love to kind of touch on some of those as well. Specifically like your business advisory service and mentorship. That's definitely important, especially in the field of entrepreneurship. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I know that a lot of the lessons you've probably learned as far as, just moving forward and making sure that you are continuing to set goals for yourself also translate into the business environment for people like myself who are, creating businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys offer with your advisory service?
Absolutely. And so, my business advisory services, they all started by being related to this search that I had. Okay. Essentially what happened was I tried to figure out when you're injured the way that I was injured, people are always saying, okay, there's a purpose for this. You have a purpose. Okay. And so I went on a search trying to figure out what the purpose was. Well, that search was, it was entailed in both my faith in God, and then personal development, listening to speakers like Tony Robbins and Stephen Covey, and reading books like Think and Grow Rich, and trying to just figure out what it was that my purpose was. Well, when I went through this process, I ended up realizing that there were some things that happened to me along the way that allowed for my success, allowed me to overcome this adversity. And those things that happened were not just unique to success in overcoming an illness or an accident, but they were also could be applied to your education, to your relationships, to business activity, to whatever it is that you wanted to succeed at, to success in sports. And first things first, you had to find people who were smarter than you, who could come up with a plan better than you can come up with, and you had to trust in them to help you execute that plan. And that is exactly what happened to me when I was in the hospital. My doctors came up with the plan of care. Okay.
Yeah.
My doctors are the ones who implemented that. And my doctors are the ones who set me on a path for physical rehabilitation and told me that there was no limits. And if I followed this plan, that I could get out of there and get back on my feet. Even though they didn't believe it was likely or possible, they still put in that hard work. And the same is true when you start a business. When you start a business and you don't have the experience of being a business owner, you have to rely on mentorship and people who know more than you do, and you don't be intimidated by that. Be excited to surround yourself by the very best people who can help you to overcome or to not step in the wrong direction and to lead you in the right way. And so, and then you have to write down your plan, and you have to follow your plan. And when you get hit with adversity, you have to go back at it again and never give up and be a problem solver. And see, that's really what we do as a business advisory practice. We help people to plan their business, to write down what they want to do, and then we provide our expertise to help them get to where they want to be. And it's been a very exciting journey, and I'm really proud of what we've done so far.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. And as far as like the different not only entrepreneurs, but even business owners, is there a specific niche or group that you guys specialize in, or do you have like a preference as to who you're looking to work with?
Yeah, we work with small entrepreneurs, usually single owner businesses. They're people who would start an LLC and want to understand the difference between the tax consequences of an LLC, or if they made a S corporation or had a sole proprietorship. They usually have employees of between 1 and 10 employees, and we help people to plan out their businesses, whether it's a law practice or a real estate development or a rental business, or somebody who is a dentist or operating a medical practice, or even a business where they're in the food and beverage or business like that. Because what we have found is that small entrepreneurs, I think, are the lifeblood of American business. Okay, yeah. But when you get started, people have a passion for what they're setting out to do, but they don't have a passion for tax, accounting, finance. How do I work with the banks? What kind of agreements do I need to put in place? And how do I structure my business and pay my taxes on time? And so that's what we really help people to do, is to figure out all these different things that they have to comply with in order to have a successful business. And it's been because there's a lot to it. There's a lot to your accounting and how you're going to manage your finances.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because, oftentimes you hear of people who have all these great business ideas and things that they want to bring, like online businesses, or whether it be a tangible product that they want to sell somewhere else. And they are reluctant to start because there's so much that goes into building a business. And I wanted to ask you, like, what advice would you offer maybe an entrepreneur? I know we have like listeners and small business owners who are entrepreneurs as well, but what tips could you just offer them on getting started and getting beyond that fear hurdle?
Well, that's the key. Okay. That's Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's Law is that if you have a fear, that subconscious fear that you have will likely manifest itself into reality. Okay, so the first thing that I talk to my clientele about, or that business owner who really wants to get started, is that you have to invest up front in understanding what it is and what the timeline is going to be for you to realize your financial success. Everybody's in a hurry for things to happen yesterday. Okay, yeah. You take the step out into you want to be an entrepreneur, but then when it doesn't happen in the timeline, then you get that people can get discouraged. Sometimes things take a long time or take some time to develop, and you have to understand what that process is. And you have to be single-minded and focused, okay, on a particular business, on a particular endeavor, rather than spreading yourself out too thin and trying to serve multiple different markets or multiple different purposes at the same time. You have to take one step at a time. If you know that you want to be an entrepreneur and you know that you want to start a business, that business might take 3 to 5 years to really get up off the ground and run. Okay, and to make profitable. So we just have to plan that and understand what you have to be capitalized at. How much money do you need to have in the bank? How much can you get outside investors, or can you provide yourself with your own financing, or can you rely on bank financing to allow you to have that timeline so there's not pressure to put food on the table at the same time you're building your business? You have to have a methodical approach to get there, because nothing happens overnight.
Love that, Anthony. All right. So, and speaking of entrepreneurship, before we jump into the next segment here is like, share with us, what is one of the biggest hurdles that you have had to overcome as a business owner or entrepreneur?
Well, that's a great question. And the biggest hurdle sometimes is your focus. Sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you have this ability to see all these different opportunities. You have opportunities to see real estate investments, and sometimes there's opportunities to see service type businesses, and then there's opportunities to serve different markets. But when you're in business, if you can carve out a niche, like a focused niche where you can focus your attention and you are deemed to be a high level expert in a particular field, that is when you find yourself able to serve a larger audience than when you're trying to serve the jack of all trades. So the biggest challenge that I've had is just continuing to be focused on my core competencies rather than trying to serve too many different functions in business. And that's, I think, a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely. That and the accounting part as well. You want to touch on that a little bit? I know you're a CPA as well, and I know you also mentioned that. As far as any specific specializations, or do you want to maybe kind of mention a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I have a master's degree in taxation, and my wife and I operate a small CPA firm where we help people to comply and to file their tax returns and to make sure that their tax planning is done the right way. We also help people to set up their QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online accounts and to make sure that their accounting is done the right way, and to help them understand that they need to have be surrounded by professionals. You need to have a nice accountant, you need to have a financial advisor, you need to have a banking partner, and you need to have an attorney. And you let your experts do their things in their field of study. But while you're in business, you have to also become an expert at the accounting of your particular business, an expert at the legal issues for your particular business, an expert of the financing activities for your type of business. Because if you don't spend your time becoming an expert in these areas, then you're subjected to, you can't manage the people who are working on your behalf. Okay? So that's really, when you want to be a business owner and an entrepreneur, you have to find yourself, you have to educate yourself in more than just what your passion is, which is the operations of your business, but you have to educate yourself on the back end as well, the tax, legal, accounting, and finance functions as well.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for bearing with me and sharing that, because one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on that a bit is because I experienced that. Like when I first got started, just not having the accounting set, a disaster. So, hey, if you guys are listening, make sure that you are taking Anthony's advice and look into the business advisory service, look into getting a CPA to handle your accounting, because take it from somebody who knows, it's not a good feeling to have to go back and just make sure that your books are together. So anyway, moving on, let's get into the NFL talk. We know that you are also an NFL contract advisor, a licensed NFL agent. Let's talk about that a little bit. The season just started. Tell us a little bit about what you do in that regard.
Well, this is a passion of mine, and this has been something that I've wanted to do my entire life. And it's a new endeavor for me. Okay. My Uncle Rick, who is actually in the other room here, played in the NFL, and he's 7 years of pro football. He played in Super Bowl 16. He was a Cincinnati Bengal. My Uncle Tony was the director of player personnel for the San Francisco 49ers from 1977 to 1991. And he was also one of the first NFL agents ever. He represented guys like Jack Tatum and Franco Harris, and he was like a a legend in football circles around the world. And and so I've had other cousins. My other cousin Ricky Razzano played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My cousin David is the general manager for the Memphis Showboats in the USFL. And I've always wanted, and we've had such a passion in our family for pro football that I had NFL dreams growing up that I wasn't able to realize in terms of being a football player.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to continue to be part of the game. And so I went out and I got certified. I went and took an examination with the NFL Players Association, and I passed it. And now I'm a contract advisor and a licensed sports agent, and I'm looking to really get it off the ground this fall and this upcoming season, where I can help players who are aspiring to be pro athletes to prepare and get ready for the NFL Combine, to give them the understanding of the process that they need to follow to get ready for the Combine, get ready for the NFL Draft, and to help them to negotiate the proper career under the NFL PAs and the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, so that they could be successful, and then also have the financial plans so that when their playing career is done, they have the finances in place where they could live the rest of their life in a very comfortable fashion. And so that's what I have a passion for, and that's really what we're trying to, a next step that we're trying to go after in my business as well.
Oh, that is excellent. And now I'm going to ask Anthony, who's your favorite team?
Well, I'm a Pittsburgh boy, so obviously I bleed the black and gold.
All right.
And I bleed the black and gold. And when I was in the hospital in Pittsburgh, John Stallworth, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, came to visit me, and Rocky Bleier, four-time Super Bowl champion, who was seriously injured in the Vietnam War, he mentored me and became a person that was very important in my life, and it gave me awards and inspired me to get back on the football field. And so my love for the Pittsburgh Steelers runs deep, but my love for NFL athletes and I root for. I'm the one person who my uncle played for the Cincinnati Bengals, and my good friend Geno Stone is a safety for the Baltimore Ravens. I root for the NFL because I love the players, and I love players on the Dallas Cowboys. Malik Hooker's from my hometown, and he's playing free safety for the Dallas Cowboys. So even though there's rivalries there, yeah, I love the NFL, but I always fall back on my Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. Well, you know what? I can go with Pittsburgh too. I like Pittsburgh. They're great. I mean, Cowboys all the way. We got a little work to do, but like you said, the NFL is the NFL. Overall, it's great entertainment, right? So this has been
what just happened. What just happened with Tavon Diggs and going out for the season, blowing his ACL out in practice is terrible. This is one of the greatest cornerbacks in the NFL, and to be injured like that is just it's just sad to see him go down. And so definitely I root for every player in the league, and because I know where most of the players came from. They grew up from humble backgrounds like mine. Okay, when I was a boy, my mom and dad broke up, and my mom was a single mother and she was a beautician, and we had to live on very modest income, and to be able to come from there, and that's a lot of the story of the NFL athletes, growing up in single parent households and with very modest lives, and then, using your talent to get out of that and to forge forward and to separate your family, your generational line forever and ever is something that's very special about pro athletes. And, that's where that heart that they have, that I share that. And I have a lot of love for those guys for what they've done and what they're doing for their history and their family.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love that. We truly appreciate you sharing that. And this has been an invaluable conversation. And I know you have already provided tons of insight and inspiration, but I'm gonna pull for a little bit more before we get ready to wrap up, Anthony. For anybody that is listening that needs that extra kick, to get started and to move forward with whatever their passion or dream or goal is, leave us with a couple of words of encouragement.
Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is go to my website.
All right, there we go. That'll work.
www.anthonyrazzano.com, and take a look at my story, and order my book Against All Odds. And I want you to read that book because it's written for you. It's written for you, and there's so much in there that it's written for you to understand that you are capable. By seeing what I went through and where I've come, you're capable of doing such special things in your life if you only believe in yourself, and if you only believe in your purpose, and if you only believe that you can. And once you start and you adopt that mindset of telling yourself that what you're capable, and you develop a passion inside of your heart, and you know that no matter what adversity kicks you in the teeth, you're just going to get back up and you're going to keep forging forward, then nothing can stop you. Okay? And every level you go up, there's going to be new temptations and new adversity that get in your way. But every single level that you get at, when you put your foot on that next stepping stone and you step up, you're going to realize the confidence that's in your heart and the confidence that's in your spirit can lead you to the promised land. And if you never give up on that idea and that notion, and you just keep focusing and keep forging forward, then you are going to become more than you had ever hoped that you could be. And that is what heaven is. And what hell is the idea that you quit on yourself and you never became who you were intended to be. So if you want to follow God's gift for your life, if you want to follow the intention that God has for you, then you just overcome every piece of adversity before you, and you just keep stepping up, because you're going to find fulfillment there, and that's where you're going to find your happiness.
Wow. That was a word. That was an absolute word. Just an amazing story. And look, I don't know when and where or how soon we can get this, but I'm assuming that you will definitely be back to share a little bit more inspirational stories within our podcast. I'm inviting you back right now. So, but Anthony, we definitely appreciate it. Before we wrap up, also let us know where we can find you online. I know the book is currently available, Against All Odds, on Amazon. Also, let us know if there's another place that we can grab it, and social media handles, all that good stuff. Anthony, whatever you want to leave, please do so.
Definitely check me out. My Facebook is Against All Odds. I have a Facebook handle. You can look me up on Instagram, Anthony Razzano, Anthony.Razzano. You can look at my website, AnthonyRazzano.com. That's www.Anthony, AnthonyRazzano.com. I'm uniquely available. So you put in a request to contact. I'll call you. We can set up a call, and as long as the time is there. I'm different. I'm the type of person. It's not all about the money to me. I find tremendous joy in connecting with people and helping them to solve their problems and realize their dreams. And if you want someone like that in your corner, look me up, and I will. I'll do my best to help you. And I because I know by helping you to meet your purpose in life, that's me fulfilling the purpose that was given to me in life. And so look me up, check me out, and let's see what we can do together. I'd love to help you do your very best.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. You heard it here today, Anthony Razzano. Make sure you guys check out the book, Against All Odds, currently available on Amazon, and check out his socials as well. Anthony, we appreciate your inspiring story and being such an awesome guest.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, an honor to be with your guest. God bless you, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you and connecting with you again soon.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on SOB. We hope this episode has been resourceful. If you'd like to check out the latest articles or follow Keetra's website updates, just log on to Keetra.com or follow her on Twitter at KEETRIA.